Hi, thought we'd start off this session talking about where we get energy from, because obviously that's the critical thing with regard to what drives our metabolism. We get our energy from the foods that we eat. There's essentially 4 things that we put in our mouth that contain energy. 3 of them are foods. They're your carbs, your fats, your proteins, and the 4th one is alcohol, not classified as a food. Now, we can get rid of alcohol straight away because none of your cells can use alcohol energy as a fuel. And at the same time, we can also get rid of the protein. Your protein only ever gets used as a fuel when you run out of sugars in particular, such as if you were starving. Now, none of us are starving anytime soon. So what that means is that we've now got 2 fuels, everyone in the world is the same, that our body is constantly mixing and matching in order to create the amount of energy we need throughout the day, no matter what we're doing. Fats and carbs. And each one of those has advantages and disadvantages. So if you look at fats, all fats are the same. The advantage is that fats contain a lot of energy per weight. Lots of energy. The problem is though, disadvantage. It takes a lot of effort and time to release that energy in terms of how your body metabolizes fat to release the energy. So it's a slow process. Carbs, on the other hand, and while I'm talking carbs, I'm talking sugars, because every carb gets broken down into sugar. There is no exception. And the sugar that our bodies want to use is called glucose. So the different sugars are converted across to glucose. So, well, carbs and sugars mean the same thing. And carbs are great because they contain energy that is released really quickly. Your body breaks it down so fast. But the disadvantage is that we have a limited store of sugar in our body at any one time. So fats are slow, but we've got lots of them. Carbs are quick, but we don't have very much of them. And our body constantly, every minute of the day, is mixing that fuel based on our demand for energy. When we're asleep, our demand for energy is slow. Keep your blood pressure up, keep your breathing, keep your body temperature constant. And our body, if we're healthy, if we've got a healthy metabolism, our body simply burns mostly fat while we're asleep. It's great. When we wake up and we start doing different sports, we go running, we go to the gym, or those sort of things that are really strenuous, and our demand for energy is really raised quickly, our body simply starts using more carbs, more sugars. So we mix that fuel mix every second of the day, every day of our lives. Your body does it for you automatically. And when we're healthy, from a metabolic point of view, it works really, really well. Unfortunately, nearly everyone I know has got to a stage where they're metabolically unhealthy. And one of the big reasons for that is that nearly everyone I know eats too many carbohydrates so that they can't justify that quantity for their lifestyle that they lead. None of us are as active as what we were when we were younger. And the foods that we now eat, that we can buy from shops and restaurants, etc., are really heavy on the carbohydrates. And because we're eating too many carbohydrates for what we now can use, it causes us, most of our problems in particular, causes us a lot of weight problems. Think about it from a logical perspective. You're eating lots of carbohydrates. We're going to talk about this and how we digest it and use these sugars in the next couple of sessions. Those carbohydrates are converted to sugars. The sugars enter our bloodstream, and unless we do something to stop our blood sugar level from rising too high, we would go into a coma and die. So our body is constantly, every moment of the day, monitoring blood sugar levels. And as soon as it sees an increase in blood sugar level, it has to take preventive action. What it does is it creates a hormone or a chemical called insulin and pumps that out into the bloodstream, and insulin essentially pushes sugars out of the bloodstream and into your tissues so that they can be used, and then your blood sugar level comes back down again. That's what happens when we're healthy and things are working properly. Imagine if we're eating too many carbohydrates though. Now here's what happens. Your blood sugar levels rise. Your insulin picks up, pushes sugars into your tissues. Now there's 2 tissues in your body that can store sugar. They're your muscles, every muscle in your body, and your liver. Your liver's like a bank account for sugar. So you can store sugar In this case, it's called glycogen. It's all these individual sugar molecules stuck together in long chains called glycogen. You store the sugars in your muscles and your liver, but eventually they've got a capacity. And when they fill up, they can't take any more. So you're eating carbs, breakfast, lunch and dinner like there's no tomorrow. Your sugar levels are just high, your insulin levels are high all the time, and you've filled up all your stores. The other option that you hopefully would do is that because of the exercise or the activity or demand for energy, you will use the sugars directly in your muscles and everywhere else. But if you're sitting there in front of a computer screen, or you're really not very active during the day because that's your work requirement, then you're really not going to burn a lot of sugar at any one time. Now you've created a big problem. You're going to cause yourself massive damage if you can't get rid of those sugars out of your bloodstream. So your body has to take precautionary actions. You get a message sent to your liver. Your liver is told, all the sugar that's passing through you, because the liver has to filter your blood, go into mass production, convert as much sugar as you can into fat. So it converts glucose into a fatty acid, because we all know that we've got a bucket load of fat cells that we can store that energy in for later on. Your liver, though, has a certain capacity to convert sugars across to fat. It's like it has a certain capacity to convert alcohol into sugar or fat. So your liver's gone into massive production. It's doing what it can. But we keep throwing the sugars down, the carbohydrates. We're not using them. We filled up our stores. Liver's gone into mass production, can't do any more. The only option you've left your body, otherwise you are in serious health risk, you will lose consciousness, is that your body gets told by your brain, sends out all these messages and tells every cell in your body to stop burning fat as a fuel. Change its fuel mix and burn 100% sugar. It's the only way that the sugars can get taken out of your bloodstream. And when that happens, think about it for a minute. We're all trying to lose weight. Not any weight, we want to get rid of the fat. But if you're eating too many carbohydrates, you've told your body you cannot use fat under any circumstance anymore. You have to use sugar. It's the only way that we can maintain a suitable blood sugar level. Bit of a self-defeating process, isn't it? No wonder people aren't very successful. But that's going to lead us into why eating carbohydrates, and in particular, the carbs that cause a quick fluctuation in our blood sugar level, they're your simple carbs and your processed carbs, why they're not particularly good for us and why we need to start being a little bit more mindful and keeping them down a little bit.